What's up, everybody? This is the Booch, and welcome to episode 11 of my hit show, Booch Shoots On. And this week, we got something special. As you guys can see, we have a little different format here on the show. Got a bunch of logos all over the place. You'll see right up here in the corner, we got the Boochcast logo right there. Right there, by the way, the Boochcast, you can find that on SoundCloud. Go to soundcloud.com/Boochcast, BOOCHCAST. Episodes drop every Monday. And, of course, we have here the YouTube logo, because as you can see, this is obviously a YouTube show on my YouTube channel. So we thought we'd show YouTube the proper love, put them up there. And as you can see right over here, we have the Frontline Essential American Worker decal on there, because you guys know the Booch, in addition to everything that he does, is an essential worker, working an essential job at Lowe's during these difficult times. So wanted to show representation right there. And of course, if you look right here, we got the front page of my website, vinnythebooch.com, for you guys to check out. Also, if I play any clips or videos, which I might play one during this particular episode, it'll be in that little section right there. And finally, right over here is a look at the Pizza Baby t-shirt, which is available at the merch store. Go to the link. It's in the description box. You can check out all the t-shirts, sweatshirts, hoodies, baby onesies, tank tops, face masks, everything. That just happened to be one of the logos right there, the Pizza Baby. Check it out at the merch store. Now, the reason I have all these logos here, and the reason why this looks different from all the other episodes, is because recently, I had gotten a new webcam. My brother decided that we wanted to switch webcams because he felt that the one that I had was better for what he's trying to do. And so I got a hold of this webcam, and it operates a lot differently. Like, obviously, the quality's a little bit different, so I have to adjust the video and I have to make it a little shorter instead of having it take up the entire space in order for the quality to look good. So since we have these little black open spaces here, I thought I'll fill them up with some logos and fun things like that. Now, originally, this is supposed to be a surprise for episode 13. That's going to be coming out in 2 weeks. But there was an unexpected situation that occurred that allowed me to bring this to you guys a little bit early. Because as you can see from the title of this episode, you'll notice I'm going to have a lot to say this week. And it's called Booch Shoots On, Tom Segura. Now, for those of you who may not know, Tom Segura is a stand-up comedian, actor, writer, podcaster. He's got 4 specials on Netflix. His podcast, Your Mom's House, is on YouTube, has his own YouTube channel and everything else. And a few weeks ago, someone sent me a video of Tom Segura. And it was an episode, I think he had Joe Coy as a guest, if I remember correctly. And basically in the video, he had a lot to say about professional wrestling. He talked about it being fake and that the fans are retarded, and if you're over the age of 10, you shouldn't be enjoying this. Basically, he had a lot of negative things to say about professional wrestling. And like most wrestling fans, I got upset. The only difference is I did not go on Facebook or Twitter, or I didn't tweet at him or do anything crazy about, saying fuck you or anything like that. Because I don't, here's the thing. I'm not, even no matter how pissed off I might get about a particular subject, I'm not the type of person that goes and just attacks people on social media. I don't play that game, never have, never will. I only attack people on social media if they attack me personally. Like, if you at me on a post and you come at me, I'll respond to you in a heartbeat. I'll do that. Maybe not in a heartbeat, because depending on if I'm at work or something and I don't see the tweet right away, obviously it might take me a while to reply. But when I see it, I'm going to respond to it, if somebody comes at me. But if no one's coming at me personally, I'm not going to attack them on social media. I don't play that. But at the same time, I am known for being a wrestling guy, so when anything like this happens in the world of wrestling, people are going to send it to me, which is what happened with this video. People are going to send it to me. People are going to want my thoughts on it. People are going to want to hear what I have to say. And because I do a weekly show here on YouTube and I need content, I knew I was going to have to address this eventually. I was going to have to. So, obviously, as you guys know, I tape my shows way in advance. I basically, every couple weeks, I tape 3 episodes, I schedule them for YouTube, I put them out there, and, have them ready to go. And then every couple weeks, I make a few more. That way, I'm not having to be pressured to come out with a video every week, and recording every week, and I can work on the other project that I'm working on, and so on and so forth. Well, I had last week, when I recorded the Invisible Man versus Invisible Stan, I also did the Tom Segura video, and of course the video that's going to come out next week. That's why next week it's going to look like the old format, and then episode 13, everything will look more like this. I had some things to say about Tom Segura and his comments. I addressed them. Now, I was not in this video. I didn't motherfuck anybody in the video. I wasn't saying like, fuck you, Tom, you fucking fucker, and all that. I didn't do any of that in this video. Now, I will admit, towards the end of that video, I had similar things to say about that, but I made sure to plead my case before I did. Because I talked about last week on the show. I mentioned that one of the hardest things about being a wrestling fan is constantly having to defend the business or be mocked and ridiculed for liking it. I talked about all this last week on the show when I talked about the Invisible Man, Invisible Stan, and everything else. And obviously, there's a reason why you don't say wrestling is fake. And I talk about that, and I addressed a few other things. And basically, I was saying, the reason wrestling fans get mad when you say the word fake, it's not because they think wrestling is real and everything that happens in that ring is 100% real. That's not it. It doesn't kill their world of make-believe. The reason people don't like to hear the word fake is because when you say that, you dismiss the pain that they suffer. You dismiss the fact that people can get seriously hurt. The fact that people have died. The abuse that's on their body every day. Yes, that's why in the wrestling business we use the term scripted. Because it is scripted, stunt, performed, choreographed entertainment, but people actually get hurt doing this. When you say fake, you're implying that anyone can do this, and guess what? It's not for everyone. Not everyone can be a professional wrestler. It is not an easy job to have. It is abusive on your body in a way that no other sport, professional sport is. It's a fact. Guys actually get hurt doing this. When you see a guy falling off a 20-foot ladder to the concrete floor, they're really falling from a 20-foot ladder to the concrete floor. There's no wires like they do in stunt movies. There's no stunt double that climbs up the ladder and takes the fall for them. There's no padding on the floor, and if there is, it's very thin padding, like thin gymnast padding that you see at like a kid's gymboree. There's a concrete floor. That's a concrete floor. That's not fake concrete. That's real concrete that they land on. So when we hear stuff like this, we get angry, we get outraged, we get upset. So naturally, I had a lot of things to say like everybody else. I got mad, I got pissed, as they say, I got triggered, which is not easy for me to do. Very few things in this world bother me, especially at my age. But it really made me mad when I saw that video. And obviously I had a lot to say. And I had the video recorded, I had it ready to go, and it was scheduled to come out today. However, a few days ago, while I was on the Twitter, and I'll show you right now, this is right here on my Twitter page, I came across this particular video that I retweeted recently. And before I saw that, I had retweeted this from Pro Wrestling Sheet. It says, Patton Oswalt defends wrestling after hearing it called fake. Like Joe Rogan and Patton Oswalt were having a conversation about this. Now, Joe Rogan has used the word fake in the past and got a lot of heat for it from a lot of people, myself included. I was pissed off when he said that. However, I found out when Joe Rogan came out with his last special on Netflix, which I watched, and he said that the truth is the only reason he said wrestling was fake was to piss off Tony Hinchcliffe, who is a wrestling fan. He runs the Store Horseman podcast, and he basically, Joe Rogan likes to get under his skin and piss him off. So Joe was just trying to be a dick to Tony, and when you find that out, you're kind of like, okay, we understand. Plus, Joe Rogan's had Diamond Dallas Page on his show. He's had Jake the Snake Roberts on his show. They've talked about wrestling both times. So Joe Rogan clearly has respect for the wrestling business. And Patton Oswalt stepped up big time for the wrestling business. And I love that Patton Oswalt did that. Because I'll be honest, I am a fan of Patton Oswalt's stand-up. Really, the only thing I disagree with him on is politics. That's pretty much the only thing I get annoyed by is when he talks about politics in his stand-up. That's the only thing that I get turned off by. Aside from that, I love everything else he does. He's funny, he's hilarious, he's incredibly talented. He stood up for the wrestling business in a damn big way, and I have nothing but respect for Patton Oswalt because of that. But then, as I was going through the tweets to hear what fans were saying about it, I came across K-Dog Creepers. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I suck at pronouncing names for the most part. Who runs another podcast, the Aussies Take on Everything podcast. And he said, didn't the comedian who trashed pro wrestling actually come out and say, I absolutely understand when people love pro wrestling, I love pro wrestling? And I said, where did you find that clip? Serious question. And he found it on Tom Segura's Twitter page. Now, I don't follow Tom Segura on Twitter. And that's not an insult. That is just a fact of life. I don't follow Tom Segura on Twitter. I just don't. It has nothing against him personally. I'm not saying that I don't follow him. It has nothing to do with how he is as a performer, because I don't know. I've never seen his stand-up. But, and again, that's not an insult, it's just a fact of life. I have not seen his stand-up, and I do not know, his Twitter page. Because I found this through the Your Mom's House clips on the YouTube channel. If he had posted this video to his YouTube channel, I'd have found it a lot sooner. But I came across this video, and I'm going to play it right now, because Twitter's kind of rushing me. But anyway, this is what the clip says.
Of course I understand why people love wrestling. It's awesome. Those guys are real athletes. Maybe it's like stunts, but try that. You get fucking hurt. Those guys are the real deal. And the drama involved, you can follow it like you can follow anything. It's like a show. It's like a fucking soap opera for men, and I think it's great. I fucking love wrestling.
And once that came out, someone sent that to me, and I realized, okay, Tom Segura has been working everybody. Because that's what a lot of people in the business were saying that, hey man, he's just working everybody, don't fall for it, whatever. And most wrestling fans didn't listen, myself included, because when I saw the original video of him bashing wrestling, I was watching it and I'm thinking, okay, maybe there's going to be some kind of punchline, maybe there's going to be something in here that's going to indicate that he's just fucking around and it's a bit. But I didn't get that vibe at all. And when some of the stuff he was saying, if he was joking, I couldn't tell. And, sometimes with certain people, you can't tell if they're kidding. You don't know if they're kidding if you don't know them very well. Like, if I was a big Tom Segura fan, if I watched all his comedy specials, if I listened to every episode of his podcast, if I followed him, if I got his personality and his vibe, maybe I would have realized that he was fucking around and he was joking. But because I don't know him very well, I couldn't tell. I don't like that with everybody. It's like me and my friends, Elvis, Desmond, the guys that work with me on the Booch cast, John, Rhiannon, Zach, we roast each other maliciously at times. Maliciously. But because we've been friends for so many years, we know who's kidding and who's not. We know when they're serious, we know when they're being funny, and if someone does cross a line, we can tell them, and their first reaction is, yo, my bad, man, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. And we know the apology is sincere and we move on. It was like when I first worked for the regular guys. I didn't know if they were kidding or not half the time. I found out later they had their radio personalities are different from how they are outside of radio. And I didn't know. I thought for a period of time, like half these guys hated me. I didn't know what they were doing. But then as I got to know them, I realized their personalities, found out when they were kidding, when they weren't kidding, got to know them. And I'm friends with all those guys to this day. All four of the regular guys. I get along great with all of them. Get along great with Larry. Get along great with Steve. Get along great with Eric. Get along great with Tim. So, simple as that. We got along fantastically after that. So, I didn't get the vibe. Then as soon as I saw this, I later went and listened to the episode with Joe Coy. And I'll be honest, I didn't listen to the whole interview. I just fast forward to that moment and that moment and that moment to kind of see the whole picture. Because some people were saying, well, they're only showing half the video, they're not showing the whole thing. So I show the whole thing. I watched the whole thing. And basically he says at the end, cut that, put that out there. talks about the soap opera thing and, good versus evil. And he goes, no, I heard a bunch of morons saying that, so I parodied it. And, he's like, follow a real sport. At that point, I was laughing because now I got the bit. He admitted it was a bit. He was fucking around. He's now doing this, like, Rick Case wrestling character now. I gotta see if I can find it. Where he's like, and his finisher's now the turkey slicer. And he's got, like, this, parody thing where he looks like the Tiger King. And then, like, his wife, Christina, who co-hosts the show with him, she kind of came out dressed out looking like Scarlett from NXT, which I don't know if that's what she was thinking when she put that outfit together, but 100% that's what it was. And then, of course, him and Patton Oswalt are going back and forth, talking about the turkey slicer, and, he says you're going to get the chamomile scone dunk, and then someone's looking for some hot poutine. It's Mystic Rick. So now he's coming out with this Mystic Rick gimmick, and he's now completely fucking with everybody, and... some people were outraged that he said fake. Other people were outraged that he said the word retard, because some people get mad when you use the term retard, which I always thought was stupid. I'm going to be honest. And here's why I think it's stupid. This is what society needs to understand. And by the way, I have a cousin who has Williams syndrome. And we've had a conversation about this, so she understands where I'm coming from completely. This is what people need to understand when the word retard is being used. Most men, especially comedians and people my age, just our generation, when we use the term retard, we're not talking about people with birth defects or disabilities. That's not who we're making fun of when we say fucking retards. We're not talking about those people. If you've got MS or Down syndrome or Williams syndrome or something just mentally wrong with you, we're not, and you were born that way, we're not making fun of you, because no self-respecting person would do that. Anyone who does do that is a fucking asshole. When we look at retards, we're talking about stupid people who do stupid things. Like if you saw my complaint time video and I said that guy came up to me with a sprinkler and said, what kind of batteries does this take? That guy's a retard, Or a guy who gets drunk and wants to pick a fight with the cops. That's a retard, as Christopher Titus used to say. Those are what we mean when we say the word retard. That's what we're talking about. We're talking about stupid people. So I wasn't offended that he said the word retard. I was mad. I got offended when he said wrestling fans were retards, but the actual word retard didn't bother me at all. I was more pissed off over fake than I was on retard. That's the thing. Some people were like, I don't care about fake. I'm just mad he said retard. I'm more mad that he said fake. That made me even angrier at the time. But then I came across this video that I showed before with Tom Segura saying, I fucking love wrestling in the soap opera aspect. And as soon as I saw that, I realized, holy shit, he really was joking with people. He really was trying to work the audience. And as soon as I saw that, I realized, holy shit, I have a video scheduled that bashes Tom Segura. So now I realize if I put this video out, I'm going to look stupid because I played into his trap. So now I realize I got to change this video because I didn't have all the information, which is something that I will take responsibility for, because I realize I did the very thing that I try not to do. That's why a lot of times when something controversial happens in the world, when I do the Booch cast, I usually wait weeks, sometimes maybe a month, before I actually address that issue on my show. Because I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, it's fresh in the news now, I got to be one of the first to go out there. Fuck that. I hate that stuff about, I got to be first on the scene. Not always. So most of the time, the people who are first on the scene don't have all the information. And that's been the biggest problem with journalism and mainstream media. And that's why there's so much fake news going on in the world, because everybody's more concerned with being first than being accurate. And I've always been a big believer in being accurate. Let me research this topic. Let me have all the facts. Let me listen to both sides and then formulate my own opinion and then give it. That's what I do. But unfortunately, in this case, I did not do that. And if I had been following Tom Segura on Twitter, I probably would have caught that a lot sooner. But I realized if I hadn't seen that tweet, if that guy hadn't posted that underneath that Patton Oswalt Joe Rogan article, and I hadn't caught that, then my original video would have came out. I would have posted it. And I would have thought I had the upper hand. And then realized I would have looked like the biggest dumbass in the world. I would have been embarrassed. Because I would have played into a trap, especially now when everybody knows the damn thing was a work anyway, and Tom Segura was just fucking with people. And all these horrible things that I said towards the end of the video, and the case I made in the beginning and the middle of the video, and all the stuff that I said, it would have came out horribly, and I would have looked stupid. And I take responsibility for that. So, you know, I felt bad that I didn't get all the information first, and now that I have it, I'm able to make this video, and I'm able to say, hey, Tom Segura, hats off to you, brother. You got me. You did some crazy stuff. You got controversial, and I love the fact that you at least took a moment to talk about the reality of wrestling. That, you know, you can get hurt doing this. That they are stunts, and you know, if you love wrestling, then you know we can get along just on that, because that's the beautiful thing about wrestling, is that it can bring people together from different parts of the world and with different viewpoints. Like, people always ask me all the time, like, Vinny, why do you love wrestling so much? Why do you talk so much about wrestling? You never really get into anything serious sometimes. Like, you don't talk enough about politics. You don't get into the real world stuff. You just talk about wrestling. Why is that? And here's why. This is the real reason why. Not just because I love it, just because I know so much about it, but because in the 33 years that I've been alive on this planet, I'm 33 years old, I have lost countless friends, especially over the last 4 years, countless friends talking about politics. Anytime I've gotten involved in politics, I've lost a friend. I've lost, you know, people. There are people who have been part of the Booch Nation. Some of them have dropped off because they didn't like where I stood politically. So I've lost a lot of friends, and I've lost a few fans talking about politics. Here's the deal. I've never lost a friend, and I've never lost a fan talking wrestling. Ever. And I've had heated debates with people. Talk to other Boochcast members, they'll tell you. We've had heated debates where we're screaming in each other's faces because we're so passionate about whatever wrestling topic we're on. But when the whole thing's over, shake hands, we're still bros. We're still friends. We still ride or die together. You know? So that's why I love wrestling, because I've never lost a friend. I can have disagreements with people in the wrestling business and talk it out. I can't have that in politics. You can't do that. You can't share your political beliefs half the time. You got to roll the dice and pray to God that people will overlook that and still want to be your friend. Some people do. Most of them don't. I have very few friends that I disagree with politically. Not because I want it that way, but because those people tend to walk away from me. But every now and then I get a couple of people that disagree with me politically, but still want to be my friend, still hang out with me, because they know the type of person that I am. And they know that my politics don't define me. Hell, even my wrestling beliefs don't define me. Everybody knows, if you know the Booch, you know what kind of person I am. And how I feel about a topic shouldn't get in the way of that, if we're truly friends. Now, if we're not truly friends, by all means, unsubscribe, unfollow, unfriend request because I say something you don't like. But ultimately, real recognizes real. And that's why I always keep it real on this show. And in that last video that I made, that's, as of right now, not going to see the light of day, I was keeping it real then, and I'm keeping it real now. The only difference is, back then, I didn't have all the information. I wasn't aware of that tweet. And now I'm glad I was, so I was able to address this and come out and say that I have respect for Tom Segura now. I respect him. I might actually start watching some of his specials on Netflix, and I might tune in and listen to some episodes of his podcast. So far, other than the Joe Coy one, the only one I listened to was the one he did with Dane Cook, because I'm a Dane Cook fan. You put Dane in anything, I'll listen to it. But I'll watch it. as well. But I just really wanted to address that, and I want to just tell you guys in the future that you should really that's why I want to reiterate this, because I made this mistake. Make sure you have all the facts on a situation before you make a video or a blog or an article on anything. Have all the facts. Get the facts straight. The facts matter. That's what matters. Don't care about being the first one to post something. Don't worry about whether or not you're on time or late to the fucking party. Fuck the party. Be accurate with your information. That's what I always strive to be, and it's a mistake I almost made. And I'm glad that I was able to correct it, because I would have felt horrible saying what I said about Tom Segura in that last video, knowing that he actually does love wrestling. I'm not even mad that he said soap opera, because it is a soap opera in a way. It has a soap opera type format. And I even do a podcast with the Wentz called The Male Soap Opera Moment. So soap opera didn't even make me mad. Because the storyline aspect is, there is a good versus evil. And it's always the most important aspect of any wrestling show. It's what makes wrestling entertaining. It's those soap opera moments and storylines that get you emotionally invested, so when the match happens, you want to see it. And, you know, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. It's not a requirement for people to be fans of professional wrestling. If you love it, you love it. If you hate it, you hate it. All I ask, and all anybody in the wrestling business would ever ask of the general public, just respect what they do. Know that you can get hurt doing this. Know that while it is scripted, a lot of the injuries are real. The pain is real. The lifestyle is crazy. And it's not for everyone. And that's why you should never use the word fake to describe it. Alright, that, ladies and gentlemen, will conclude this week's episode of Booch Shoots On. Thank you all so much for tuning in. As I mentioned before, Tom Segura, one more time, I tip my hat to you, brother. You did a hell of a job working the internet, and like I said, I'm going to check out some of your specials. I'm going to check out your podcast a lot more. You've earned my respect. Not that you needed it, just letting you know it's out there. And hopefully you guys like the way this format's designed with these like logos and pictures and things like that. Like I said, starting episode 13, this will be the regular format. Next week's episode will go back to the old way, because it's already been pre-recorded and out there in advance. And we'll be talking about the Money in the Bank ladder matches next week. And as I mentioned before, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell to be notified so you never miss another episode of Booch Shoots On, as well as other additional Vinny Bucci YouTube content. So also make sure you guys follow the Boochcast right here. I keep screwing that up. Right here on SoundCloud. Go to soundcloud.com/Boochcast. I have a link to it in the description box. Also, as you can see, the Pizza Baby logo right there. Got that right. Go to the merch store. Merch store link will be in the description box as well. And as always, you can check out VinnyTheBooch.com website. Check it out. We've got the UCW Extreme Spring Stampede on there, as well as there's a link to the merch store and a link to the podcast and a few other places. And, of course, the D-Shap in the Morning playlist is on there as well. So make sure you guys check all that out and check back soon for a new episode. Until then, pizza, baby!